Hey, Chi-Town, and welcome back to Speak Your Mind Radio. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Queen Star, and I'm dope, funny, and goofy. And you guys just never know who I'll be interviewing next because I love people and I love giving back. So join me on this magical journey from hidden underground talents to legendary film directors across the world. Or watch me get hyped off solo music reviews from cool tracks to hip-hop beats because we now streaming on Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. It's Miss Hip Hop and we live, baby. Time to represent Chicago's #1 podcast, Speak Your Mind. Hey, Chicago, and welcome back to Speak Your Mind Radio. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Queen Star, aka Miss Hip Hop. And today, guys, we're doing something a little bit different today. It's been a minute since I've had my last guest on the show who is really not a stranger at all to Speak Your Mind. You know what I'm saying? He's actually my friend in real life. And we met through podcasting. He's from the South. He's from Tennessee. So shout out to Tennessee. And he hosts his own podcast show called The Morning Drive with David. And we're just going to bring him to the mic right now. How you doing, David?
I'm doing good, Star. How you?
I'm doing well. I missed you.
Well, I mean, we talk all the time, but yeah, it's been a minute since I've been on.
Yeah, definitely. It's really good to see you. So, we got to start off with an icebreaker question for everybody.
Have at it.
All right. What are your goals for your podcast for the next year, 2021?
Well, honestly, I never really had a goal in mind to begin with, just, me rambling off at the top of my head. But I'd like to see, one, my audience grow a little bit. But I'd like to start bringing more guests on. It's just with the time constraints I have, it's kind of hard for me to arrange times when people are available at the same time I am. But I don't know. I just like to see it grow. I tried my best in the very beginning not to focus on politics.
Mm-hmm.
But especially with election coming up, it's kind of, I guess that's just where I am. But I would still to branch out and maybe bring people from the other side of politics, even though I don't really have a side, but bring people with different perspectives on to talk.
Definitely. And I think that's one reason why I like your show so much is because you do rants about things that matter to you. Like that is like, I don't know. It's just so funny because I was listening to a couple of your episodes, your past recent episodes of you ranting. You were talking about politics and how you basically have no interest in, voting and stuff like that. I mean, you don't want to pick sides and you're tired of, this is the most important election of the year. And this is the one. And you know what? I felt you. Like, I like your views. Like, you're just real and upfront about it. You don't hold back.
Well, thank you. I try to be. I mean, I've kind of gotten, I've lost the taste for social politics. I still like to dabble in, but when it comes to the actual government and stuff like that, I lost my taste for them. I've come to the realization that it's all just a ball of junk. And I used to hold hope out like crazy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it just, I don't know, especially with this election. I mean, honestly, I'm like, of all the people in this country, you give us these two. These two. If you don't, you got to vote for this one because the other one will win. I'm like, I don't want either one of them to win. I mean,
right.
That's me. They both suck. Why would I vote for either one of them? I mean, that's just me. And
it's so funny.
Oh, it drives me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, now I tell you what, Democrats had a chance. If you ask me, they had Tulsi Gabbard. And I thought that she was, of all of them, I thought she was the best pick they could have possibly had. Just not because of all of her views, because some of them I don't agree with, but I'm never going to agree 100% with somebody.
That's true.
But she had one. She was a woman, and she was a vet, or she is a vet. She but she upset the system.
Yeah.
You know, she was anti-war, and we can't have that.
Right.
And it to me it bothered me that you had this woman, a young, strong, smart woman, and they ended up with Joe Biden. I don't know. I don't know who makes those calls, but somebody called wrong. Because I tell you right now, there's a lot of people that are, even on my side of the politics, where we don't like any of them.
Right.
But a lot of them were rooting for Tulsi Gabbard, and they were like, I might actually vote for her, because we're not one issue voters. If we vote at all, we're not, we're not a side voter. We're not Democrat or Republican. We try to get behind whoever we support. And a lot of people that were in libertarian circles and, even some anarchist circles were like, I'll vote for Tulsi Gabbard. And so the Democrats could have won with her, but they ran with Joe instead. And so it's just like, whatever. Of course, now the Libertarian Party's got Jo Jorgensen. I mean, she's running. And that's what I always love, is whenever I hear somebody say, well, it's time we have a woman president. And I'm like, well, we got one running. You going to vote for her? Well, no, because if I vote for her, the other guy's going to win.
Wow.
So, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm getting on a little political rant.
No, it's okay. It needs to be talked about and discussed. Like, let me ask you a question. A thing that kind of boggles my mind is libertarian. Like, can you break that down? Like, I think most people understand what Republican and Democrats are, but what exactly does libertarian fall under? The category.
Libertarians are more of a, because I don't even consider myself a libertarian per se anymore. The Libertarian Party kind of lost me a while back, but it would be cool to see them win. But the pretty much it comes down to two main facets, rules they live by, which is don't hurt people and don't take their stuff. Okay. They want extremely limited small government. They want the federal government not to have any power, if any, very little, if any at all. Leave most of the things up to the states, and let the state government run it. I mean, because honestly, that's the way it was intended anyway. The federal government wasn't supposed to be this big, overreaching, powerful government. And over time, the states have become more and more dependent on the federal government for not just, how to run their own state, but their money. They get a lot of federal funding, and which is always funny to me, because it's like, okay, the state collects all this money, gives it to the federal government, and then the federal government divvies it out to the states. I'm like, why don't you just keep it? I don't understand that. But libertarians are just they're anti-war. They believe heavily in the you hear some people say the NAP, the NAP, which is the non-aggression principle, which means, you don't initiate violence or force on other people. Self-defense is perfectly okay, but, you don't go invade countries because they found oil, and stuff like that. And our foreign policy is very hands-off. If anybody is actually interested in to know what libertarian is, go look up Ron Paul. He just had a stroke here recently. I mean, that was a hard hit. A lot of people say he's crazy. A lot of people say he's nuts. But he has been right about a lot of stuff. The thing that changed me from being, I want to say, I guess I was kind of a Republican back in the day, was I heard, because I thought I knew what the Republicans stood for, and I didn't. So, but I listened to Ron Paul's Imagine speech, and that changed my way of thinking when it comes to war and foreign policy and stuff like that, big time. But I mean, the more you dig into it, it's the way they want to go back to real constitution, if anything. Limited powers and stuff like that. They're very libertarians are very logical, and that's the way they look at things. They look at their principles. They stick to them. They try to. It's hard. It's very hard to stick to your principles as a libertarian. It's very, because a lot of times when it comes to politics, you rule according to emotion.
Yeah.
And that's where I was talking to someone who used to be a stone cold, Bernie Sanders Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
And she, eventually came over to the Libertarian Party, and I asked her, why. I had her on the show a while back. And she said, because what the Democrats say sounds great. It's like the whole good intentions thing. You want to help
exactly.
people.
Yeah.
You want to help people. You want everybody to be nice, and we live in a nice country and everybody treated fairly. She was like, but when it comes down to it, you're wanting to use force from the government to make that happen. And that's never really a good thing, because then you're always going to get pushbacks. And I mean, it's not the way to get things. Good ideas don't require force.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
And that's where a lot of them come from. And so she noticed that whenever, I think she said her turning point was when Senator Rand Paul got beat up by his neighbor. He's a Republican, and a lot of her surrounding Democrat friends, were like, yeah, we should have had the shit beat out of him and all this other stuff. And she was like, no, that's not good. Even though we don't agree with his politics, that's not the way it should be.
Right.
And so many people turned on her, saying that, just calling her like, well, you're a real Democrat, and, you're not a progressive. And she was like, wait, so me not wanting harm to come to somebody makes me not a progressive? She's like, I don't want to be one. And so she was kind of just out there in the, politically homeless, as a lot of us have found ourselves to be whenever we wander off into libertarianism. Because we realize we don't belong on the left or the right. And, we believe in some things they believe in, that's what's always funny is whenever, I'm railing on some, Democrat, progressive on their policies, and I have a Republican come and try to back me up. I'm like, whoa. I ain't on your side either, buddy. You know what I'm saying? No. Don't get it twisted. It piss him off too. So
that's so funny.
But yeah, that's pretty much what libertarian is. They believe in individual and property rights, stuff like that. They believe that the smallest minority is the individual, and that you have a right to your own body, your own property, what you do with your life, as long as you're not hurting anyone else.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I can agree with some of those views as well. I think most people go into the whole politic thing by saying, let's choose the lesser of the evil, so you only have right and left to choose from, right? You're not going to choose left, so you might just choose right because it's the right thing to do, just at that time. But
sorry, I lost you.
Oh, you didn't hear me. Okay, I was just saying most people go into like politics, like when they're voting and stuff, like you choose the lesser of the evil. Have you ever heard of that method?
Oh yeah, the lesser of two evils.
Yeah. Did you ever like go through that fiasco with yourself?
Very briefly. Like for instance, whenever in 2008 rolled around and we had McCain and Obama.
Yeah.
I was pulling for Obama, mainly because he was the hope and change guy. Right. I knew that McCain was just going to be another Bush, and I wanted to get out of these wars. I wanted to get away from the Middle East. And so I was pushing for Obama. I was like, I didn't vote for him because I really didn't feel like I was an educated voter. So I didn't want to do that. And then whenever, even 4 years later, I'm like, we're still there.
Yeah.
That was my biggest issue was, because Obama was talking about, hey, we're going to bring these troops home and stuff like that. And I'm like, we didn't. And then, after the second term, I'm like, still not, And so, I mean, in 2012, I think I voted for the first time. I voted for Gary Johnson, who was on the Libertarian ticket.
Okay.
And it's, I still was only halfway educated on things, but I voted for him. I was like, I didn't want, what was it, Mitt Romney? I was like, I don't want him, you know, and I didn't want Obama, but I wanted to voice my vote.
Yeah.
And so I went for the libertarian ticket. And then this last time when we had Trump versus Hillary, no, I could not vote for either one of those two. I mean, it just was not. And I've always felt like, you know, a lot of people say if you vote for a third party, you're wasting your vote. And I've always felt like the only time you waste your vote is if you vote for somebody you don't support.
Yeah, I agree.
And you know, I would rather not vote at all than to cast my vote and hold my nose at the same time, because it kills me. And so last time I actually wrote in John McAfee, which he's just a freaking nut. But I mean, he's hardcore libertarian, once government gone type of situation. So I mean, I just wrote him in, and I mean, I don't know. I've like I said, I've lost my taste for the government.
I hear you. It's a lot to congest and digest. Now, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you voted before the 2012 election?
That was the first time I voted.
For real? Your whole entire life?
Yep. I was,
Wow.
Yeah, I never really cared about politics at all.
Oh my God. That's so.
And yeah, 2008, I made a small observation on MySpace, of all places. I wrote a blog on MySpace, and it was about, you know, they were talking about Bush or McCain, or Obama or McCain. And I told them, I said, it ain't going to matter. I said, and I didn't really know anything. I said, nothing's going to change. I said, the whole Washington, D.C. needs an enema. You know, it needs to be flushed out and replaced. And yeah. So I kind of thought, I guess I was more of a libertarian back then, and I didn't even know what that was. And it was around 2012 whenever 2012 through 2016 is whenever I discovered Ron Paul. And that changed the way I look at things big time.
Okay. That's an interesting fact about you, David. I just had no clue. I just thought like you were one of those people that voted all the time and understood the whole dynamic of it. I'm like, man, this guy is awesome. You're even more awesome now that you just sat there and told me that your first time was voting is 2012. That's crazy.
Oh yeah. I didn't care. Yeah. Until then.
I definitely feel you. There's a lot of individuals out there that would agree with you, and I don't know, man. That's just crazy right there. Jesus. Okay, so let's move on a little bit from the politics, because I want to ask you about something really beautiful that happened to you this past past week. You actually got a chance to have an additions put onto your family. You were a foster parent, and now you have this big, huge family. So tell the story about that, because that's cool.
Okay, I'll try to keep it as brief as I can. But about 3 years ago, Thanksgiving, this coming Thanksgiving, it'll be 3 years. A family member of ours had their kids taken away through the DCF, the Child Protection Services. And we found out through other family members that they'd gotten taken. It was a sibling group of three. They were how old were they? 1, 2, and 5. Can't remember then. I got to do math, and it takes me forever. But I think that was one. I think that's right. 1, 2, and 5. And then we called DCS and we're like, hey, you know, we didn't want them split up. My wife told me about it, and I said, we'll see what you can do to get them. And she was like, are you sure? And I was like, hell no, I'm not sure. I was like, but
yeah,
it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I didn't want them split up. I grew up, my brother and my sister lived up north, and I lived with my 2 stepsisters, which are my sisters. And so I knew how it felt to be separated from your siblings. And I didn't want that for them. And so, you know, my wife made a few calls, and they asked if we'd be willing to foster them. And we're like, yeah. You know, they said it shouldn't take but maybe 10 months to a year, and they should get them back. It wasn't that big of a deal. It was mainly just like a neglect situation. It wasn't like they were a bunch of crackheads or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're like, okay, so we took all the classes and all this stuff and got everything done we needed to get done, and we started fostering them. And when you first start fostering, your first goal, your main goal is reunification. Is to kind of help the parents and the kids, do what you got to do to help make sure that they get to go back to their family. And that's what I always thought too. I was like, the best place for a child is with their parents, as long as the parents are fit.
Right.
And so we were busting our hump, trying to help them out and trying to tell them what to do and trying to make that happen. Because I already got 3 kids. I already had 3, and they're teenagers. So I was like, I was 37 because I'm 40 now.
Right.
So I was 37 whenever we got them. So I was like, I'm already an old man. I don't need these little babies. And, so we're sitting there, and well, as time goes on, a year passes and 2 years passes, and, things ain't moving. They're not doing what they need to be doing to get the kids back. And, they said they gave them a lot longer than they usually would because it wasn't a big deal that they were, that the stuff they had to do was simple and they just didn't do it. And so DCS asked us, they were like, well, would you be willing to adopt? And at that point, we were like, honestly, we were thinking, well, if we tell them no, then they're just going to take them out of the house, and put them into a house where they would be willing to adopt. Mm-hmm. And so it was still something we were wrestling with, but, we said, yeah, we'd be willing to adopt. And, they're part of the family anyway. And as time came around, that ended up being what happened. What was supposed to be 10 months turned into almost 3 years. And now we have 3 new additions to our family legally. So it was, it was a happy day. I
bet it was.
It was.
I heard the clip of the judge granting you all legal access to the kids, and it seemed like everybody in the room was really happy. And
oh yeah. That was a Zoom meeting too.
Oh, that was Zoom. Okay.
So we had wondering. That way we could have my parents and because my mama, she lives up north, and my wife's parents live in Missouri, and so we wanted to make sure everybody could see it. So it was a fun time. It was. It wasn't that big of. I don't want to say it wasn't that big of a deal, but it's not like that really changed. They were already part of the family. It's pretty much just makes it legal, and then we'll change their last name and stuff. Oh, we won't change their last name. We're going to add my last name to their names. So
that's nice.
They get to maintain, because it is family. Their last name is a family name, and we just want them to feel included without being, robbed of their birth last name. So.
Exactly. It's a sign of which of not changing their last name but only adding on to it. What will you do when the kids start to ask about their biological parents?
That's something that we do think about and how to word it. It's the oldest one right now, she's 8, and it's starting to, she was excited to become a Dairy Berry. So she was really excited about it. But the other 2, the youngest is 3, and then we got a 5-year-old. So, they're kind of, I don't think they're really aware of what's going on right now. But
I can't hear you. What'd you say? They kind of what?
So I don't think they're really aware of what's going on right now.
Right.
But they will be. And
yeah.
We're discussing that, and we quite don't know how we're going to approach that when that question comes up. But they're still going to be involved. It's not not in the capacity they were. We still got Thanksgivings and Christmases as our family, so they'll see them then. But during the foster care, they had rights to visits twice a month or phone calls every week, and I'm personally glad that's all over, because we're busy as I'll get out anyway. And to fit that time in was just, it was a strain, and it confused the kids, obviously. So
of course, I can only imagine.
So
Um,
we'll figure that out as I guess as time gets closer.
yeah, definitely, definitely. David, how did you and your wife get into the whole fostering process? Like, did you guys just say, "Hey, let's do this," or I mean, was it
No,
something?
it was just because of those three kids. I mean, we never really even thought about fostering before that. And when we found out, that they got taken away from her cousin, we're just like, let's see what
Oh,
we can do to get them. And so that's when we found out we had to become foster parents in order to keep them. And so that's what we did. I mean, we talked about adopting years ago, but
mm-hmm.
it was just talking. And
Mm-hmm.
but it was like I don't know. It was just one of those things that felt right to do, and so we
Yeah.
did it.
Well, congratulations, and I feel like I mean I'm not you, but I mean I feel like you did the right thing, you know.
I appreciate it.
And God bless you for real, because y'all are a couple of angels in these children's lives. They need you so much, and you're there for them. So that's cool.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, it
Hmm.
is. It's something. I mean,
I know it is something for sure. Okay, so David, moving on from that subject, I want to ask you, like, this weekend was pretty big for you. I mean,
oh,
you
hold on a
actually
minute. I
went.
wanted to show you something.
Okay, cool. Oh, he's so cute. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh, you look so cute.
that's the
That is
youngest one.
so
That's the
sweet.
youngest one. He's something.
Oh, he is so adorable.
He's a mess. He's got my wife actually got him nominated for it's called Little Heroes Capes. He's got some disabilities. Uh,
Cool.
like he's got a it's what they call Duane radial Ray syndrome. It's a uh, genetic disorder. So
Okay.
he's got some physical abnormalities and like his hands and stuff. But I mean that little dude. I mean when we got him, he couldn't crawl. He could barely sit up for a second. I mean he was almost one, and that dude he's been through a lot, and
Yeah.
so he's but yeah, I thought I'd show you. He's a crazy little nut job is what he is. But
I bet he is. I bet he is. What's his favorite thing to do? Like,
uh
outside or something.
he loves playing in the mud. I'll tell you that right now. Uh, and besides that, he loves to bug the crap out of his mama.
For
I mean,
real?
oh, ever since he was itty bitty, like if she started coughing in the car, he'd copy her. He'd be like, I mean, he likes to get on people's nerves.
Hmm.
I tell him he's the cutest little asshole I ever met, and that's why I love him. I love him because
He is so cute.
he's such a pain in my butt. And I'm like,
Oh.
I'm gonna be that dad that's out in the backyard beating the hell out of you and laughing at the same time
Right.
because what you did you shouldn't have done, but it was funny as hell. But I gotta punish you, you know.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's what he's. And the one thing he really wants to be able to do is play football.
For real?
But the doctors say no contact sports for him because he's got one of his kidneys is up there next to his belly button instead of back
Oh.
there where it's supposed to be. So yeah, he's gonna have to a lot of things we're gonna have to deal with as he gets older on his restrictions. But
Yes.
but that little dude, I mean, he's a dad. Once he started walking, it was all over. I mean, that dude he's everywhere, into everything, and he has no fear. Um, he'd get up there on the steps, and once he found out he could jump from like the third step up, he won't even wait. If he just sees me walking by, he just assumes I'm going to catch him, and he'll be like, "Daddy," and he'll jump,
Oh,
and I had to grab him, and I'm like, "Damn it,
yeah.
boy, quit!" And he was just, I'm like, "Oh,
Oh,
I tell you," but
he
yeah,
is so cute.
he's
I could
something.
just imagine that. So he just expects you to catch him when
Oh
he get
yeah.
on that third step, and he just jump.
He's like, "Hey, Dave, check it out." I'm like, "Dude, stop." But
Oh,
but anyway, what were you gonna ask?
I don't even know because I was just thinking about him. He's so cute. I love that picture of him. He's like he got little goggles on his face like
Oh
this.
yeah. Oh, the
He
other
is
thing about it too.
adorable.
He's about blind as a bat. We
Is he?
well, see, when we first got him, we noticed he looked at everybody like this, like
Oh.
he had to tilt his head back, and so we knew something was wrong, and so we took him to eye doctor, and at I think it was like one, maybe a little over 1 year old. They checked his, I don't know how they did it with some kind of lens and checked his
Mhm.
the back of his eyeball, and yeah, he's got really bad eyesight. So they got him glasses, and now the first time we put glasses on him, it was like he was seeing for the first time.
For real, it's nice.
It was something. 'Cause, I mean, and he's gotten to now to where he knows that, you know, the glasses actually help. So, you know, he goes and gets them, or, you know, he'll ask for his eyes, or, you know, stuff like that. So I'm there for a while. It was hard to keep him on him because he'd take them off with them, and he didn't want them on his face. But now he's finally got it.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, he has the people in his life. I mean, all the kids do, obviously, because you guys really do. You give a damn, you know, and a lot of people don't. They have kids and they don't have kids, you know. Oh, you're kind of freezing up, David. David, you there? Uh-oh. David. Oh, and we still recording, y'all. I wonder if this is my, no, it's not. David, you still there? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna have to end this episode, but I'm back though, and it's just gonna be added on. So I'll be back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for bearing with us. We had technical difficulties, you know, but we're back now with David, you know, the morning drive with David.
I apologize. Everything just seemed to want to not work anymore.
No, it's perfectly fine. I'm glad it's working now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So now you take most of your episodes in the car, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Most of the time. That's why I haven't got the whole computer thing down yet. Because most of my, most of my episodes are done in the car. I just, that's how I started out anyway. And then every now and then when I interview people, I'll be able to sit down with them with my computer when it decides it wants to work.
Right.
Most of the time, my episodes are done right here.
Hey, I see the Batman symbol on the back seat.
Oh yeah, on the back glass. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Oh.
So now let's talk about your last episode, the one, the most recent one you just put up. That episode was kind of creepy. You know, the what's it called? Speaking from the grave.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of pissed me off.
Yeah, it would have pissed me off. It did piss me off.
I saw well, somebody actually sent it to me. A listener sent me a clip, and they want to know what I thought about it. And you know, the Parkland shooting, I think that was down in Florida or Georgia. I can't remember where that was. Oh, it's Stowe and Douglas High. Out front and go up front. Sorry about that.
No,
for a small company, and they print the newspaper here. Somebody was asking where the newspaper's at. But anyway, but yeah, there was it was sent to me, and what it was you know, anytime a school shooting happens, it's tragedy, always. Anytime anyone loses a life, it's a tragedy. So I don't downplay that bit. But they what they had done was they took one of the victims of the shooting and did a little bit of CGI and computer magic, and somehow got the voice of the victim, and they did they used the victim's image, like kind of brought them back to life digitally, damn it.
Digitally.
Yeah. And he was, you know, telling that they need to go vote for, you know, pretty much stricter gun laws and stuff like that. And, you know, it ticks me off anyway whenever you get somebody that uses any tragedy to forward their agenda.
Right.
But then you're going to take somebody that's not with us no more, that's dead, and use their image and put words in their mouth to forward your agenda. And to me, that highly pissed me off. As a parent, you know, that the parents went along with it. So I mean, that kind of makes me wonder how that happened. But it's I don't know, and it struck a big nerve with me too, because imagine if someone would have took the image of another victim and made that image start talking about how they support, you know, arming our teachers, or, you know, against gun control. It would have been a freaking madhouse. So, I mean, and me personally, and that's the issue too, is that whenever you have a tragedy happen like that, you can have multiple perspectives come out of it. Like back in November 15th, 1995, there was a shooter at my school, at my high school.
What?
And oh yeah, there was one student, one teacher, and one student got killed, one teacher got killed, and another teacher got injured.
Wow.
And yeah, that's, you know, before the internet, before it got everywhere, it was a big story locally. But I was a sophomore at the time, and it was a small school. I mean, I went to a K through 12 school. So
Okay.
I mean, my graduating class was maybe 90 people. So I mean, it was a small school. And when I came out of that, whenever, you know, the days that followed, I was the opposite of what you see a lot of people saying they are. I was actually one of the ones saying I wish the teachers would have had a gun, you know? But it just shows how the media only portrays one aspect. And so yeah, when I saw that video, it really upset me, and not much pisses me off as much as it used to anymore. But yeah, that pissed me off.
yeah, that would have pissed me off too. I mean, it did piss me off because it was just, it's like, why did we have to even take it there? Like, why can't, first of all, you already know what the problem is. The laws need to be changed, period. Like you said, it needs to be washed away and start anew again. You know what I mean? And it's just scary. It's just like taking somebody that you lost or I lost and doing that shit. Like, I just don't like that. I don't like it at all.
No.
And it was very disturbing.
And disrespectful. Not
disrespectful.
Just, you know, I would say to the parents, but the parents were in the beginning of the video talking about how they knew what was going on. So, I mean, but I think it's disrespectful to the public that you're going to pull hard at some heartstrings like that to try to get your agenda across.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's manipulation. I mean, that's all that is.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you 100%. And I actually saw it through your stories the day before, and I said, what the hell is he talking about? And then you came out with the rant the next day, and I'm like, oh, this is what he means. I was like, let me capture this real quick. And
oh, yeah.
I don't know. I didn't know people were doing all that. That's just too much. That's too close for home, you know? Okay.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, David, you want to play a game with me? It's called Miss Hip Hop's or that. And essentially what you're doing is just picking which one you prefer.
Absolutely. I like games.
Okay. All right, let's get started. Mac 10s or Uzis?
I had to go with Uzi because it's compact. Mac 10's all right, but I like a Uzi.
Okay. AK-47s or AR-15s?
Oh, now see, that's a battle for time because every gun guy, this has been an argument. That's like it's like asking somebody if they're like, you know, which one's better, Biggie Smalls or Tupac.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm a fan of the AR simply because that's what I'm familiar with, and it's got its problems, and that's why I'm also looking at getting an AK-47 too, just so I can have both of them.
Oh wow, you love rifles.
Yeah. Oh yes, I do. I do.
All right, this is gonna be funny. Route or route?
You talking about the road?
Yeah. Well, how you
It's a
say
route.
it?
It's a route.
Route? Okay.
A
Not
route.
route, but route. I hate when people
No.
say route.
But like Route 40, what's the route? Route's on the bottom of a tree. That's what's in the ground.
Thank
A,
you.
a
Right.
route is a road.
Right. And the route is like what a crowd does at a rally. They root.
You route, yeah. Like, oh no. There's a lot of word discrepancies, yeah.
Definitely. Tomato or tomato?
Tomato.
Okay.
And if you want to get technical, it's mater. But yeah.
You say it different because you're from the South, but that's all good. Shoot. Hoagie or po' boy?
Oh, see down here I don't call them either one. I think a lot of people might call them a po' boy, but I'm not for sure. But up north where I spent my summers, it was a hoagie.
Okay.
Most of them down here just call them a sub.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah. Tennis shoes or gym shoes?
Tennis shoe.
Okay.
And we pronounce it like one word, tennis shoe.
Like tissue? Tissue.
It's tennis shoe. It's tennis shoe.
That's funny now. Pronounce it one word. Garage sale or yard sale?
Yard sale.
Yeah. Highway or expressway?
I don't ever say expressway. We got highways and interstates.
Right. Okay, so
like
boom,
the smaller ones
out.
The smaller ones are highways, and the big roads are interstate.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you, David, for coming on today's show. It was fun catching up with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we gotta do this more often. Whatever it is you got going on, you know what I'm saying? Just like let me know, or I'll see it for myself really on IG.
Oh yeah, I had to get you back on too. It's been a minute, and then
yeah, definitely, it has been a minute.
I wanted to thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
You're welcome.
And just I don't know, we kind of go way back, and it's kind of funny how you and we'll talk about all kinds of stuff, but I don't really force politics, and that's why it's always a breath of fresh air to talk to you, because most of the time if I got somebody on or I'm on somebody else's show, it's political topic, and we just barely touched it, which kind of felt good.
Well, that's good to hear, because I'm just like all over the place when it comes to politics and just things that is not my expertise, so to speak.
Oh, I understand that.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in to Speak Your Mind Radio. Be sure to hit the like button on YouTube and also subscribe, please, and share. So, yeah, thank you guys again. Peace out. Bye, David.
Bye, y'all.